Welcome to the Pursuing Points podcast, where it's all about the pursuit of credit card points and miles today so that you can travel the world free of charge tomorrow. And now, your host, Peter Foti.
Hello, faithful Pursuing Points podcast listeners, and welcome to the 29th Pursuing Points podcast. I am your host, as always, Peter Foti, and I'm very excited for this episode. I'm pretty sure I start off every episode by saying that, but I know that a lot of you have been emailing me questions and we've been corresponding, and everybody asks, in addition to their question, when is the next episode? So the answer is today. What I decided to do for this episode is basically a grab bag, meaning I had a few events happen recently with different cards that I want to talk about, and then I also decided to pull a few questions that people have either emailed me or left comments about on the website recently, and I'm just going to answer those on the show. Given that it's sort of a grab bag, it might be a little shorter of an episode than normal, but one of the things I want to try and start doing is publishing an episode, say weekly, even if it means I don't necessarily have like a full 30 minutes of content, right? Because I think that there's value in me sort of talking about some of these things, even if it's a little bit shorter than episodes of the past. So with that, let's jump right into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is a card that I have spent a lot of time talking about, writing about, and using, which is my Marriott, and of course now it's recently renamed, and I don't even know what the full name of it is anymore. The Marriott Bonvoy Chase card. So obviously, when I first signed up for this card, that was not the name. It was the Marriott Premier Rewards credit card from Chase. And then once Marriott and SPG merged, we got all these new cards. I'm pulling up the name now. And the reason I don't know is because they haven't sent me the new card yet, so I still have the old black Premier Rewards. But the name is the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless credit card. It's a mouthful. Anyway, when I first signed up for the card, I had talked about it live on the air. I basically was able to take advantage of a sign-up bonus worth about 120,000 points. Now, even though that's a lot of points, as someone who doesn't stay at a ton of hotels, you might be wondering why that was beneficial for me. And the answer is, I had a bunch of SPG points. I didn't know what to do with them. One day I was on their website for SPG Moments, and I saw that I could redeem them for a box at Madison Square Garden. So long story short, I ended up doing so. I got 4 tickets. It was an incredible experience, and I basically told myself that I want to try and do that as often as I can. So a little while later, Marriott and SPG merged, and that led me to have interest in pursuing more Marriott points, because now I could use those points for the same experiences at MSG and other venues throughout the country. So I signed up for the Marriott Premier Rewards credit card. Again, the sign-up bonus was about 120,000. And to date, let's see, I've used those points to see Chris Stapleton at Madison Square Garden inside of a box. I got 4 tickets for him. I got 2 tickets for Justin Timberlake at Madison Square Garden in the box. And I still have enough points left. I'm thinking Jennifer Lopez is coming in July to MSG, so I might do a box for her, or save some of the points and then look towards the Knicks for basketball at MSG into the fall, winter, etc. And another thing, at one point when the merger happened and they changed the card to this Bonvoy Boundless, they actually gave me 50,000 points to upgrade. And so I have earned plenty of free bonus points with this card. The problem, of course, is that the card itself is not of much interest to me. So for those who aren't aware, its earning structure is 6 points per dollar spent at participating Bonvoy hotels and $2 on every other dollar that you spent. Unfortunately, this represents a devaluation of sorts, right? Back in the day, the SPG personal card earned 1 point per dollar, but that 1 point was worth 3x on Marriott. And so now that that card has gone away and this is its de facto replacement, it's a 33% devaluation, right? Because you're earning 2 and you used to be able to earn 3. Other benefits of the card, though, are you get automatic silver status. You can get gold status if you spend $35,000, and you get a free night award every year on your account anniversary, valued at up to 35,000 points. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is that my annual fee was charged on June 1st of this year. And my immediate reaction was, I'm not really interested in keeping the card. Although I do use it because of the 2x that it earns, it's not something that, like, if I didn't have it, I wouldn't know what to do. I would simply shift that spending to one of my other cards, such as maybe the Freedom Unlimited would be a good candidate. The Wells Fargo Propel would be a good candidate. I would figure it out. And the free night award is nice, but the thing with the free night award is, because this is a Chase card, they deposit that free night as soon as your annual fee hits, which means that even if you cancel the card after, if you cancel the card and they refund your annual fee, you still get to keep the free night award with a Chase card. With Amex, I think it's a little bit different. The silver status basically means nothing to me. I don't really stay at too many Marriotts. So bottom line is, I picked up the phone, I called Chase, as I've tried to help or tried to get people to do time and time again. That's like one of my biggest sort of recommendations for people, right? Everybody wants to know what card they should get. But I think one of the more interesting questions you can ask is, based on the cards that you have, how can you maximize them, right? How can you pay less in annual fees? How can you extract greater bonuses? Things like that. And one of the ways of doing that is, when you have a card that's coming up for its annual fee, pick up the phone and call the credit card company. And basically what I say is, like, while this is a really good card, I'm having trouble justifying the annual fee given the amount of spend that I put on the card. And I'm really looking for anything you can help me out with to sort of ease the annual fee blow, if you will. So the first time that I called, which was right on June 1st, because I was sort of caught off guard, right? They charged me the fee. I didn't really know it was coming. And that's pretty much always the case. So I was a little bit caught off guard. So I picked up the phone, I called them, and I gave them my spiel. And the woman that I spoke with, who was very friendly, but she basically just said, there's nothing we can do. It didn't take her very long to make that decision. And what she said to me was, you don't have to decide today. You have 30 days to decide if you want to keep the card or not. At which point, if you cancel within the 30 days, you can still get the annual fee refunded. And normally I probably would have just canceled regardless, but I figured, okay, I will wait. I'll think about it. I wasn't positive that I wanted to cancel the card. But I also knew that I was positive I definitely wasn't going to keep it if I had to pay the full freight. So the way I left it with the lady was, I would call back in a couple weeks and think about it. So today is June 23rd, and I actually just got off the phone with Marriott, and we got a little bit of a better deal. So I called. Obviously, I was connected to a new customer service representative. I gave him the same spiel, and this time I was offered a $50 statement credit to keep the card, meaning that my net effective annual fee is only $45. And although this isn't what I would consider like a runaway in terms of value, I'm actually pretty much, I'm happy with it. And the reason that I'm happy with it is for the free night award that I mentioned earlier. So basically, if I'd canceled the card today, I would get no more free night awards. Now that I just paid this year's annual fee, next year I'll get another free night award deposited into my account, at which point I can then cancel the card but keep that award. So effectively, I just paid $45 for a free night award, which the value can range greatly. But as an example, I just used some of my free night award certificates that I had for 2 nights in a hotel for a wedding in August, and it would have been $189 per night. So in that case, I saved about $400. So if I can come anywhere close to that, right, $189 a night for the $45 annual fee that I just paid, I'm going to be super happy with it. And as for the rest of my Marriott points, It's very easy to only be interested in talking about point valuations when it comes to credit cards. And I understand why that is, right? Like people, they're looking for a very sort of black and white method for determining how valuable one thing is versus another. But when it comes to redeeming points for experiences, I think it's a little more fuzzy. In the case of like the box at MSG, for example, which is where I tend to redeem my points, you can't buy your way into that system, right? You have to use your points. And because I get to take friends and family with me and give them an experience that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to have, that's basically priceless, right? And so I do value these points, even if it's not valued in the same sort of X and Y, black and white lens that we judge pretty much every other point system. And bottom line for me is that because I don't stay in a lot of hotels, and even if I do, I'm definitely not brand loyal. I'm not the best person to sort of dive deep on hotel cards with. It just so happens that one of the ways you can redeem these Marriott points is through these experiences, which I happen to like quite a bit. So the bottom line from that story is if you have a card, the annual fee's coming up or it's recently been charged, pick up the phone, call the credit card company, just say, is there anything we can do to make this sting a little bit less? Like, I love the card. It just doesn't get as much spend in my wallet as I would like for it to. What can we do? And if the first one says no, call back in a week, right? And if they keep saying no and you don't think that the card is worth it anymore, cancel the card, right? Your credit score may very well go up when you cancel a card, depending on a variety of factors. It could go down, right? If you cancel your oldest card, for example, or if you cancel the card which has the greatest available credit limit, those things could adversely affect your score. But by and large, if you have an established credit card, an established credit history, and the card you're thinking about canceling is a little bit newer, and it doesn't have a huge line on it that's going to adversely affect your utilization, you shouldn't be afraid to cancel a card if it doesn't provide you with enough value. The next item on the list is, and if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I recently posted about this. So if you don't, please do, at Pursuing Points. But speaking of canceling cards, so I think it was about maybe 5 years ago, I signed up for a Barclays NFL Extra Points Visa card. I signed up around the Super Bowl, at which time they were running a sign-up bonus worth $400. I don't know if they still run this promotion anymore, but at the time that was huge. And nobody was really talking about it. I don't think that there was very many affiliate offers available for the card, so it wasn't being pushed the way that most cards are pushed. So I signed up. I used the $400 to buy towards buying a new computer, which at the time, as I was starting my new career in software development, was a huge boon for me. But basically after that, the card had very little value to me, right? Other than the fact that it had the Buffalo Bills logo, which, is my favorite team and probably the greatest team in the history of the National Football League. But besides that, it had no value for me day to day. Its earning potential was rather meager. The other benefits that it got you, like different discounts on NFL Shop and things like that, basically were of no interest to me whatsoever because that's just not where I spend money. So it sat in a drawer. Now, what you should be doing with cards like this, if you want to keep them, you need to spend some money on them every so often. So for example, my oldest credit card, which at this point is, I think, over 10 years old, once a year, I buy a cup of coffee. $3, whatever it is, $4, and then the card goes back in the drawer. And this is a way of ensuring there's enough activity on the account that the credit card company can't mark it as being inactive. Because what will happen what will happen if a card company deems your card to be inactive is they will cancel it on you with zero notice. Taking it back to the Barclays NFL Extra Points Visa card, that's exactly what happened. It actually started because I got an email from Credit Karma saying, did you cancel this account? which of course that was somewhat nerve-wracking because I hadn't canceled anything. Then I checked my mail and I saw a letter from Barclays, and it basically laid out that they had canceled the card due to inactivity. Now, I didn't care that they had done that. In fact, I had been meaning to call them and ask for a similar retention bonus. Otherwise, I was going to cancel the card. And of course, on no annual fee cards, retention bonuses are a little bit harder to come by, but I have gotten them before. So I wasn't expecting much. But the reality is, if I'm not going to use the card, it basically is just a security risk just to sit there and do nothing. So I should have acted on this sooner, but I didn't, so they did for me. And the reason, again, that I'm bringing this up is just you should be taking stock of your credit card portfolio on a regular basis and identifying cards which don't provide you value, doing your best to try to extract some value, be that by calling them and asking for some sort of bonus or what have you, and then canceling the ones that are still of no value to you after that. And remember, value doesn't just mean points and miles, right? Value could mean that it's 10 years old and it's propping up your credit score. That's valuable. So don't just assume that when I say value, I only mean dollars. Like, there's a lot that goes into this, right? So that's that. So we're about 16 minutes in. So I have two comments, or I guess people email me these questions. So I'm just going to read the question and then I'll do my best to answer. So the first one says, I just requested for the termination of my Citi card, American Airlines Advantage card a minute ago. The reason was I haven't used the card in the past 3 years, but I always paid my annual membership, which was costly. Can I still enjoy and use the points I have accumulated after the termination of my membership? How can I check the points if I forgot my password? Thanks. So for the I'll start at the end and then we'll work our way back. If you forgot your password, the only thing to do is to go to the website, hit the forgot password link, and try to retrieve access to your account. So in this case, you would go to aa.com for that. But the more interesting part of the question at the beginning, and the reason I pulled this question specifically is because it's basically what we're talking about, right? So he hadn't used his card in 3 years, but he was paying the $95 annual fee. If you have a card which has an annual fee and you do not spend any money on it, I strongly encourage you to do the thing that I've been talking about this entire episode. Pick up the phone, call the number on the back of your card. Hi, so-and-so, listen, I think this is a fantastic credit card. Unfortunately, it doesn't really have a place for me in my wallet as much as because I'm unable to spend money on it the way that I would like. That being said, if there's anything you can offer me, I'd be interested in hearing about it. Otherwise, I'm thinking I'm going to want to cancel the card today, right? Like, it could be that simple, and obviously you can put your own spin on it. So I think the biggest mistake here was paying the fee for 3 years and not having ever tried that. That being said, once the 3 years goes by and you decide that you want to cancel the card, the question is basically, where do my points go? Well, when you spend money on the card, right, the points get deposited into your frequent flyer account. In this case, your American Airlines account. Now, American Airlines miles do expire, right? So Delta miles don't, but American Airlines miles do. American Airlines miles, after 18 months of inactivity, are going to expire. And basically, you can see what the date is for you. If you go to aa.com, you log in, you go to your wallet, and they will give you a date. They will say, on this date, this is when your miles will expire. And basically, to continuously move the date back, you need to either earn or redeem American Airlines miles at least once every 18 months. And of course, one of the ways you can earn miles is by spending money on a credit card, which basically means if you have a card and you use it, your points will basically never expire. All right. And of course, if you redeem miles that you already have, that's also a way to keep them active. So the one thing I worry about for this listener is hopefully, because they haven't used the card in 3 years, hopefully all their miles are still there. But there is a chance that if there's been no activity on the account for 18 months, the miles have unfortunately expired. So, the thing that we want to avoid is getting ourselves into the situation where the points expire. So one way to do it is to, for example, sign up for an account on awardwallet.com. Right there, what you can do is you can put in all your different balances and it'll track your points for you and it'll send you an email when your points are about to expire. Other ways that you could do it, I personally just use a spreadsheet where I write everything down. That's a little bit more manual and labor intensive, but it works for me because I've been doing it for a while. But figure out what system is going to work best for you and track your points over time. And then the other thing is really try not to be a points hoarder. And I really need to take my own advice with this because I haven't been doing a great job of it recently. But the bottom line is the points aren't yours, right? The miles don't belong to you, right? They belong to the airline, and they can basically do whatever they want, right? They can change these rules at any time and take them from you. They can devalue them. I was reading an article not too long ago in the Wall Street Journal about, what happens to your miles when you die. And the reality is, in most cases, the airlines just take them, right? They're not given to sons, daughters, or family. The airlines just take them. Now, I suspect, given that recent publicity, some things might change in that area. And of course, if they're in your will, it's a little bit different. But by and large, the airlines own those miles. So if you die, you lose them. And of course, that's a separate topic. But just understand that, right? Don't collect points and miles. The whole point here is you want to earn them and you want to burn them. Earn them and burn them. Having a cachet of points and miles, it might look cool, I guess, but it's just not valuable. And the reason I said I need to take my own advice is I have a lot of Ultimate Rewards points right now. And the reason I haven't used them in a redemption is I kept telling myself like, oh, I'm waiting for that big redemption. But the reality is like it just hasn't come. Most of my travel tends to be domestic. I take a lot of trips, but I don't, or at least I haven't in the last half a decade, taken a trip for say multiple weeks out of the country, right? Like my trips are Thursday to Monday, Vegas, Philly, Syracuse, California, LA, Florida, etc., right? Those are what I do. And in the last couple years, I haven't used points for any of those trips just because I didn't necessarily think that the value was all that great. But now I have all these points, and of course, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I'm trying to give some advice that now I have all these points and I'm basically married to the Ultimate Rewards program, right? I have this $450 Sapphire Reserve, which I can't cancel. I can't really downgrade it to the Sapphire Preferred because now all of a sudden I lose 25% of my value. So I have to use these points, right? And I'm going to have to pay another $450 for that card for at least one more year before I can even consider making a switch. And because I'm really seriously considering the Wells Fargo stack of the Propel plus the Visa Signature as being maybe more beneficial to me than the Sapphire Reserve, given the type of flights that I fly most often. So I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but just to bring it back, keep an eye on your accounts, earn your points, burn your points, don't accumulate them. And before you cancel a card, ask if there's anything that the company can do for you in terms of retention. And finally, the last question here is from another podcast listener, Joe. He says, I have always accumulated miles and points, but I'm not ready to take it to the next level. You'll love to hear that. So I was looking at the Chase Sapphire Reserve and was ready to apply, but just noticed that the Southwest Rewards Visa is offering 60,000 bonus points for a limited time. It was 40 the last time he checked. He says he flies Southwest at least 2 to 3 times a year, so he thought that maybe this is the best deal for me. So his question is, should I sign up for the Reserve or the Southwest Rewards? Also, once I choose one, can I apply for the other maybe in 6 months? I don't know if these sign-up bonuses are still valid. This question was sent to me a couple weeks ago, but there's 2 primary points that I want to address here. One is the question of, once I choose one, can I apply for the other in 6 months? So Chase has what's known as the 524 rule. That's sort of the informal name that was given to it as Chase. As far as I know, has never formally acknowledged this, or that, as far as I know, they don't have any documentation on the website about it. But basically what it says is that if you've signed up for 5 credit cards within a 24-month period across all banks, you will be automatically denied regardless of income or credit score for any new Chase product until you fall beneath that threshold. So to answer the question of can you sign up for 2 of them in a 6-month period, The answer is yes, if doing so will leave you below the 5 threshold, right? If you sign up for the Sapphire Reserve today and that is your 5th card in 24 months and you're still at 5, 6 months later, then no, you won't be able to. So keep that in mind. Credit Karma, again, is a great website. You can go, you can see when you open these accounts if you're not keeping track by hand. So I would recommend going on there and just getting a sense of where you're at. And then the other question of which card should you sign up for? Listen, if you don't have a pressing need for a particular card, I'm of the opinion that you should sign up for the one that's most beneficial today. Because here's the deal. The Sapphire Reserve is not going anywhere. And the 50,000 point sign-up bonus that you're going to get today is probably the same one that you're going to get in 6 months. The difference is that the Southwest is 60,000 today, and it probably won't be that much in 6 months, right? Because as you said, it was 40,000 last time you checked. While it can be super exciting to sign up for new cards and whatnot, my advice to people is almost always take inventory of what you would like to have in your wallet and monitor those products. When those products offer greater value than is typical, pounce, right? Then that's when you submit the application. So in the case of the Southwest card, yeah, I mean, if you fly Southwest 2 or 3 times a year, Southwest points are super valuable, right? I believe the points guy says they're 1.5 cents per point, which is fantastic. And for 60,000, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would sign up for that one. And then if in 6 months you decide you still want the reserve, go for it. But, you got to dance while you have to dance while the music's playing, right? When the sign-up bonus is $60K, take advantage. Because guess what? The reserve is never going to go below 50. And obviously I have no insider information. I'm just saying I would be shocked if it ever did. So we know that that's the lower bound. We know the upper bound is 100. So if you don't need it today, wait. And then who knows? Maybe they'll up it to 75 someday. But with the Southwest card, as far as we know, the data that we have right now, the lower bound is 40, the upper is 60. Might as well take advantage of the 60. So that would be my advice. Hope it helps. And that's the podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, follow on social media. I'll have some links. Feel free to send me emails with question, comments, etc. And I look forward to seeing you all in a future episode.